So what is going on, guys? It's Triple G here, back with another Tribes of Midgard video, and in today's video we're going to be looking at what are the best legendary weapons that you can create and do a ton of damage both in and out of the Fenrir fight. Pause this video and let me know in the comment section below what you think the best are, and then see if you're right at the end. Guys, if you enjoyed this video, please consider subscribing to the channel or join us over on Twitch, where we stream 5 times a week. And otherwise, let's get straight into this video. So we're going to be ranking the legendary weapons not only based on the damage and the abilities they have, but how easy they are to create, because some of these legendary weapons will require a Jotun to create, and therefore Mr. RNG is in this equation. Now, there are 2 legendary weapons that you can make without needing a Jotun. This way you can rely on always having these weapons towards the end of the saga mode when you're ready to fight Fenrir, without needing the RNG of having the right Jotun at the right time. So let's talk about those 2 first. So first up, it's the Fenrir's Fang. Now, the Fenrir's Fang has 3 damage capability moves. It has the Crushing Boulder, the Smashing Pounce, and the Binding Chains. All do very nice bits of damage, and the materials that you need aren't too difficult to find. Werewolf fangs and large bones are from some of the harder enemies, but raw iron should be coming through your quarry pretty regularly, and once you have that bridge up, you have no real use for raw iron other than reinforcing your gate. As it comes in a non-element as well, it's actually very good for using against Fenrir, as he does resist a lot of elements, and the weapon itself actually looks really cool as well. Another weapon that you can make without needing a Jotun is the Elivega bow. Now, this bow is a void bow, which again is actually good and effective against Fenrir. This has a knockback, a sticky drain, and a grim barrage. Now, the sticky drain you can use to heal both yourself and your teammates, and the grim barrage is a nice AoE attack which you can use on Fenrir. Remember that when you are using a bow against Fenrir, you don't actually have to go underneath his legs, reducing the amount of risk involved in doing damage to the boss. The materials you need for this are wooden boards, which you should have an excess of, and they are very easy to craft. The Hellfring Ring and Hellfring Crowns, you will need to get these in the majority from actual waves that are attacking your base, but you can actually buy them from a sorcerer scattered around the map, providing that you have managed to find it. Next up, we have the 4 bows that you need to have killed a Jotun for, and let's start off with my favorite, and that is the Ice Axe. The Ice Legendary Axe is absolutely brilliant. It has a slash attack, a band hide, and a blizzard. The band hide gives you and your teammates armor while they are around you for a brief period of time when you proc it, which is really nice. Ice is nice and effective against a lot of enemies as well, which is good as well. The one challenging thing about this Ice Axe is obviously you do need the Jotun first of all, and the second thing, the unfrozen talismans are normally in areas with high power, so make sure your character is nice and tough before you start to go and get those unfrozen talismans. And of course, the cut stone, once you have built your bridge and built your defenses, you will have some spare from this coming from the quarry, so you should have enough materials to do that. But obviously this weapon is dependent on you getting the right Jotun. Next up, we have the Boulder's Blaze. Now, this is my go-to weapon. If I can't get the Frozen Axe, I'm more than happy to use the Boulder's Blaze. The Boulder's Blaze has 3 separate attacks. It has a Whirlwind, a Tree of Life, and a Thunderstorm. The Tree of Life is absolutely fantastic for co-op play. You can heal yourself and your teammates in a large area really consistently. I absolutely love the Boulder's Blaze. The Whirlwind is also very strong as well. You can do massive AoE in a spin, meaning that you can clear gates from your town very easily, and it does catch Fenrir if you're underneath him using the Whirlwind. The Thunderstorm is very good for Fenrir. You can get under there, hit your right trigger, and get out, reducing the risk of actually dying whilst also still doing damage to him. In terms of the material to try and get this, werewolf fangs aren't that difficult to get. You can get some lower level areas with the werewolf fangs. I tend to go kind of into the desert and into the ice areas to get the werewolf fangs. As I'm a seer, it doesn't matter to me about temperature. So we go in there, we get the werewolf fangs, and the raw iron should be coming from your quarry on a quite a regular basis. So the Boulder's Blaze is one of the easiest ones to make. Next up, we have the Muspelheim Maul. Now, this is one of the most difficult to make, in my opinion. It is very good, has a strike, a fire trail, and a Worlds Ablaze ability. They all are pretty strong attacks. The fire trail is a bit of a nice to have in my opinion, because, you know, it does hurt the mobs that are chasing you, but if you've got a legendary weapon, you don't really need to run. So, you know, it works okay. One of the tricky things about this hammer is you will have needed to have made all the hammers in the previous colors in order for you to make this hammer. Now that can prove quite difficult because the amber and the garnets are in some of the harder areas, meaning that you're going to have to farm consistently. Most of the time that I get to use this hammer is when I'm playing co-op and we have a ton of people going out and farming for materials. One of the more difficult ones on there. Finally, we have the Cygnus Blade. Now, the Cygnus Blade has Twilight Beam, which is a top tier ability on a legendary weapon. It fires a beam forward that does a tremendous amount of damage. Also has Tornado and Basin Drain for a little bit of damage on Tornado and a bit of healing. Now, the Cygnus Blade also needs materials and previous weapons for you to upgrade it, meaning that you are going to use far more resources creating this blade than any other. You also need the right Jotun for you to get this, and you need the Docker Orbs to even get this going. So you need to have killed witches, you need to have raided camps. You could buy the Docker Orbs from the vendor as well if you want to, but as you can see here, you are going to need a lot of materials that just aren't really in abundance in the world. So where does that leave us? What do I consider to be the best legendary weapons in Tribes of Midgard? Well, for me, the Baldur's Blade just shades it. One of the reasons why the Baldur's Blades just shades it as the best for me is the fact that it's super effective against Hellthings, which means that you can defend your base really easily, even in Blood Moons. It has a healing ability onto it as well as the big AoE, and it's also very good at Fenrir. So no matter what the challenge, you're always going to be well equipped if you get this legendary weapon. The only downside is that you need the right Jotun. Next up in second place is the Elivaga Bow and the Fenrir's Fang in joint second. These two weapons are really good. It's hard to split the difference between them simply because you don't need a Jotun to craft them. If you have accidentally sold your Jotun materials like I have done in the past, you can rely on getting one of these and still doing a decent amount of damage. Next up, we have the Ice Axe. Now, this Ice Axe would be higher up on this tier list. It would actually go into second place if it wasn't for the fact it relied on the Jotun, and the unfrozen talismans can be difficult to find at times. The abilities on the Ice Axe are fantastic. The Band Hide is a really good ability for using on Fenrir, and of course the Blizzard does a massive AoE damage, which is also excellent for Fenrir. That means that the Cygnus Blade has made it into a fourth place. This weapon just has too much materials to get that are awkward to get, but that is made up by the fact that the Cygnus Blade does have Twilight Beam, which is just an absolutely fantastic ability, and it looks freaking cool. Finally, we have the legendary Fire Warhammer. Now, this weapon is difficult to make, does require multiple different versions to make it, and therefore has ended up in last place. It has good abilities, it does do some decent amount of damage, but the other options are just better. That being said, all the legendaries in Tribes of Midgard are fun, they are all very powerful, and they all have a situation in which they excel. Most of the time it comes down to what Jotun you have had as to which one you have got. But in terms of ranking, I think that the ability to create them is a massive factor when ranking these legendaries. Guys, let me know in the comment section below what you think are the best legendaries in Tribes of Midgard. If you've enjoyed this video, please consider like, commenting or subscribing to the channel, or join us over on Twitch. We stream 5 times a week, and otherwise I'll catch you on the flip.